Bolo Shri Hari Kandi Bhagwan Ki Jai. Welcome to today's seventh day of Spring Navratri. And today we have lots of snow all night and continuing on. So I know some people couldn't make it in person, but we're grateful for who was able to get through the snow and get here. Thank you from Denver and other places. Yes. So first we're going to read about the the seventh aspect of the Divine Mother. Okay, listen very carefully. There'll be a test after a while. Day 7 is Kalaratri, who is the most fierce amongst the 9 Durgas, simply because she gives the highest realization to her devotee by annihilating his or her mortal limitations and grants them fearlessness. Her fierceness represents her higher intensity, and even her ornaments are nothing else but high voltage electric waves. Highly intense means she gives transcendence to her bhaktas easily by making them quickly suffer their accumulation of past mortal karmas. She is meditated upon in a form with untied long hair. She is Digambara or naked, as she is the entire cosmos, and there can hardly be any clothes made for her as external covering because she is everything. She holds a shining sword, a thunderbolt in her left hand and lower hand, and abhaya and bara mudras in the right hand and lower hand. She's seated on a donkey, which shows that every creature is beloved of our Divine Mother. Her face expression is Rudramukhi, or fierce, with wide, big eyes and a gentle smile on her lips. In the Durga Sapsati, Kalaratri is mentioned along with the 3 spiritual nights. Kalaratri means the night of disillusion, absolute darkness in which there is nothing to be seen or known. Only when there is light you can find a sense of duality in terms of the existence of a matter in some space and time. Here in absolute darkness, there is no existence of matter. She either stops time or has devoured the time itself in absence of time. The space can't be formed and matter becomes static. As earlier told, her ornaments and body are charged with electric waves, which reveals that anything which goes close to her will merge or dissolve in her. She'll release them from mortality. Hence she grants moksha, or liberation, to her devotees. She destroys fear in her devotees' mind and grants them wisdom to cross the ocean of samsara, physical life, effortlessly. On this auspicious occasion of Mahasaptami, we invoke the blessings of Ma Kalaratri to destroy all negativities in our lives. Mother Kalaratri Mata Ki Jai, Bole Baba Ki Jai.
A service organization which Babaji asked to be established around the world. There are different countries.
And
representing the Americans today, and we spread his teachings and food service and
if anybody has questions about the American Arakan Samaj, Melody is here the whole time, the president, and a former president, Loknath, is also here the whole time and will be happy to answer any questions about the American Samaj. Bole Baba Kite. Om Pavitra Pavitra Va Savava Songadopi Va Yasmara Purari Kaksham Sa Vibhyan Tarasuchi. Om Purari Kaksha Punatu Om Ganganapate Nama. Om Ganganapate Nama. Om Ganganapate Nama. Om Babaji, Divine Mother, please be with all of us as we offer today's fire ceremony to you to say thank you. Thank you for all the beauty around us, this fresh snow, which is really a blessing, and the trees and the birds and all the deer. How many deer did you see this morning? 12 deer. They all came to celebrate the Divine Mother Festival with us, I think. The deer and the animals, the love and the nurturing that we receive from our families and all of our friends, and particularly Babaji, Divine Mother, the love and the nurturing that you give us moment to moment. And today is the 7th day of Navratri. It's also the 5th of April, 2025. And we're here at the Hedekandi Universal Ashram in Crestone, Colorado, United States of America. And the fire ceremony is being sponsored by the American Harakan Samaj. And we want to remember in our prayers all of the people, plants, and animals around the world suffering in any way from disease and surgeries and deaths in their families. Friend wrote about a woman with very serious stroke on all sides of her body. So many people we hear from that need our prayers. Also, people who are suffering, plants and animals, from disasters, great earthquakes and floods and fires and tornadoes and hurricanes. Also from warfare and discrimination and hatred. Please, Baba and Mother, help us all feel your arms of love and protection around us. And our beautiful Mother Earth, Bhuvaneshwari, who's laboring under our unconsciousness and greed, may we walk upon her with more love and more consideration and greatest care and gratitude that we're allowed to walk and live on our Divine Mother, Bhuvaneshwari Mata Ki Jai. Om Pavitra Pavitra Om, excuse me, I'm sorry. Om Shri Sambhasadashivaya Satgurve Namah. Avahanam Samarpyami. Om Babaji, please stay with us during the time of our yajna. Om Shri Sambhasadashivaya Satgurve Namah. Asanam Samarpyami. Come from the Himalayas and sit with us, Baba, in your asan and harakan, and all of your asans made ready for you around the world and in the hearts of all your devotees. You can take off the yagyo. Would somebody like the yagyo pavitam from? Nice. Om Shri Sambhasadashivaya Satgurve Namasnanam Samarpyami. And everybody that can reach can help with the Lingam Puja. Om Namah Shambhavaya Cha Mayobhavaya Cha Namah Shankaraya Cha Mayaskaraya Cha Namah Shivaya Cha Shivatadaya Cha. Om Shri Sambhasadashivaya Satgurve Namah Panchamritsnanam Samarpyami. Namah Shambhavaya Cha Mayobhavaya Cha Namah Shankaraya Cha Mayaskaraya Cha Namah Shivaya Cha Shivatadaya Cha. Sambhasadashivaya Satgurave Namah Shurajasnanam Samarpyami. Om Namah Shambhavaya Cha Mayobhavaya Cha Namah Shankaraya Cha Mayaskaraya Cha Namah Shivaya Cha Shivatadaya. Sampatamya Jamahe Skana Bushivadhanam Utvarukamiva Bandhanat Mritor Mukshya Mamrita.
Oh, wait.
Okay. Om Shri Sambhasadashivaya Satgurave Namah. Asanam Samarpyami. Om Shri Sambhasadashiva, and everybody can have a little panchamrit bath from the Shiva Lingam. Sugandhim Samarpyami. Shri Sambhasadashivaya Satgurave Namah. Yagyo Pavitam Samarpyami. Om Agnaya Shaste Kite Namasvaha. Om Bardinim Agnim Abhayami Pujyami. Om Chandanam Samarpyami. And also the little fire, just put on the edge. She Sadashivaya Satgurave Nama Kumkumam Samarapyami. Sadashivaya Satgurave Nama Aksatan Samarapyami. Shri Sadashivaya Satgurave Nama Pushpam Malam Samarapyami. Shri Sadashivaya Satgurave Nama Pushpam Samarapyami. Sadashivaya Satgurave Nama. And one at the fire. Oh, you put one there. Perfect. Dupam Samarapyami. Just one is good. Light a chair and then we'll set it over somewhere. Shri Sadashivaya Satgurave Nama. Navidyam Samarapyami. Om Pranaya Swaha, Udana Swaha, Apanaya Swaha, Somnaya Swaha, Dada Swaha. And just put it near Baba or near the one near the lingam. Banana can just go with lingam. Bolo Shri Hari Bhagwan Ki Jai. So just take what, and if you run out, just make the offering from your heart. And actually try not to put it right in the flame, off to the side. Now it's time to make the offering. Okay. Great. Om Gananata Ganapati Gumhavamahe Priyanatva Priyapati Gumhavamahe Nidhi Natva Nidhipati Gumhavamahe Vasamam Atmajani Garbadam Atmajasi Garbadam Swaha Om Ganganapati Nama Swaha Om Rakatundayam Vat Swaha Om Guru Bio Nama Swaha Om Trayambakanyajam He Sunim Pushtivadanam Udvarukamiva Bandhanat Mritor Mukshya Mamritat Swaha Om Trayambakanyajam He Sunim Pativadanam Udvarukamiva Bandhanat Dito Mukshya Mamritat Swaha Om Tat Purushaya Vidmahe Mahadevyaya Dhimahi Tanarudra Prachodayat Swaha Om Ring Shring Haryakandashvarya Namah Swaha Om Ring Namo Bhagavate Mamanindra Swaha Om Namo Bhagavate Mamanindra Hring Haryakandi Namah Shivaya Swaha Om Shri Satgurave Namah Swaha Om Kailash Giri Vare Rame Nivasantam Shishanti Bi Tatmunim Satam Mande Satya Karunya Rupinam Swaha Om Yasa Smranamatrena Sito Bhavati Sharaka Satgurum Tamandande Harakanda Vasinim Swaha Om Yasa Kripa Katenshana Danyo Bhavati Manava Tasya Padarikam Pranamani Nirantadam Swaha Om Kamalam Riyam Yasa Kamalam Yasa Vashanam Dandopi Kamaloya Sa Kamalam Gam Namamiham Swaha Om Drishtim Dayamayam Kripa Yapashati Characharam Lokopakani Dato Ragave Shari Varchita Swaha Satguru Sakananda Dhyanyam Sadashanam Satyam Param Chinanadam Samsmarmi Sarvada Swaha Om Hare Reva Hare Bhakto Hare Dhyan Parayanam Hariyanam Amritam Pipa Hariyadam Banam Vrachat Swaha Om Yodadati Chabalanam Sakyanam Chusurdabam Sarva Sahani Nuapit Humekam Avalambanam Swaha Om Mahama Chandarupin Hamohadantadi Nashika Sava Bhutat Reposi Mahendra Sahajajivanam Swaha Om Ananda Rupam Shri Shakti Deeptam Vidyam Param Brahmasanubhutim Karunya Purnam Gunamurti Rupam Devim Namaha Jagadishwarim Tvam Swaha Mam Rakshanityam Jagadavalambe Tvameva Satyam Jagajivani Mata Sansara Jama Jaroga Vidyam Adyam Bajay Harakandavasinim Swaha Om Shrim 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 Swaha Om Shrim 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 Swaha Om Shrim 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 Swaha Om Hrim 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 Swaha Om Hrim 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 Swaha Om Hrim 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 Swaha Om Klim 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 Swaha Om Klim 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 Swaha Om Klim 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 Swaha Om Shri Mahadev Parvati Sharanam Swaha Om Shri Mahadev Parvati Sharanam Swaha Om Shri Mahadev Parvati Sharanam Swaha Om Shrim Hrim Klim I'm Kamalavasane Swaha Om Shrim Hrim Klim I'm Kamalavasane Swaha Om Shrim Hrim Klim I'm Kamalavasane Swaha Indravacha Om Namaste Om Bambatkaya Apadudana Kudakudabatkaya Bam Om Namah Shivaya Swaha Om Bambatkaya Apadudana Kudakudabatkaya Bam Om Namah Shivaya Swaha Om Bambatkaya Apadudana Kudakudabatkaya Bam Om Namah Shivaya Swaha Cassandra, you put a little bit again. Indravacha Om Namaste Stu Mahamaye Shripate Surapuchate Shanka Chakra Gadahaste Ma Lakshmi Namostute Swaha Om Namaste Guru Radude Kola Asura Bayamkare Sarva Papa Hare Devi Ma Lakshmi Namostute Swaha Om Sarva Gayan Sarva Badade Sarva Dusta Bayamkare Sarva Duka Hare Devi Ma Lakshmi Namostute Swaha Siddhi Bhukti Pradaya Devi Bhukti Mukti Pradayani Mantra Putra Sada Devi Ma Lakshmi Namostute Swaha Om Ad Antarihita Devi Adi Shakti Maheshwari Yogate Yoga Sambhute Ma Lakshmi Namostute Swaha Stula Sukshma Maharodre Ma Shakti Mahodare Ma Papa Hare Devi Ma Lakshmi Namostute Swaha Padma Asana Shite Devi Para Brahma Swarupani Paramashi Jaganmatar Ma Lakshmi Namostute Swaha Sveta Ambara Dare Devi Namalankara Bhushate Jagastiti Jaganmatar Ma Lakshmi Namostute Swaha Om Hring Shring Hare Kandashwarye Namas Swaha. Now we're going to read 108 names of our beautiful Divine Mother. Om Lakshmi Namas Swaha. Ambaye Namaswaha. Amanan Rupaye Namaswaha. Parambaye Namaswaha. Amavishadidaye Namaswaha. Durgaye Namaswaha. Ambikaye Namaswaha. Jagadambikaye Namaswaha. Parmasanyaye Namaswaha. Karlaye Namaswaha. Shivdaye Namaswaha. Swaha Gyanmurtiaye Namah Swaha Ishvaryaye Namah Swaha Yogmayaye Namah Swaha Shriyaye Namah Swaha. Om Sardaya Namah Swaha. Om Mahendraya Namah Swaha. Om Shaktiyaya Namah Swaha. Om Rudraya Namah Swaha. Om Matriyaya Namah Swaha. Om Savitriyaya Namah Swaha. Om Vedmatriyaya Namah Swaha. Om Kalyaniyaya Namah Swaha. Om Siddhidatriyaya Namah Swaha. Om Varunaya Namah Swaha. Om Sarvamangala-datriyaya Namah Swaha. Om Ishtatriyaya Namah Swaha. Om Nityaya Namah Swaha. Om Taraya Namah Swaha. Om Chandikaya Namah Swaha. Om Jagadavalambaye Namah Swaha. Om Vishveshwaryaye Namah Swaha. Om Jananaye Namah Swaha. Om Vardaya Namah Swaha. Om Rajashwaryaye Namah Swaha. Om Shankaryaye Namah Swaha. Om Shivaye Namah Swaha. Om Jayankaryaye Namah Swaha. Om Anandrupaye Namah Swaha. Om Siddhi Shakti Deeptaye Namah Swaha. Om Vidyaye Namah Swaha. Om Paraye Namah Swaha. Om Karuna Purnaye Namah Swaha. Om Gurumurti Rupaye Namah Swaha. Jidyaye Namah Swaha. Om Sareshwaryaye Namah Swaha. Om Parvatyaye Namah Swaha. Om Divyaye Namah Swaha. Om Ankaryaye Namah Swaha. Om Parameshwaryaye Namah Swaha. Om Purnaye Namah Swaha. Om Vidyaye Namah Swaha. Om Parmaye Namah Swaha. Om Mahamayaye Namah Swaha. Om Shivdaye Namah Swaha. Om Sarvagatyaya Namah Swaha. Om Katyaniyaye Namah Swaha. Om Bhavtariniyaye Namah Swaha. Om Haryakariniyaye Namah Swaha. Om Tariniyaye Namah Swaha. Om Mahaviryaye Namah Swaha. Om Padmaye Namah Swaha. Om Maheshwaryaye Namah Swaha. Om Shananaye Namah Swaha. Om Shivdutaye Namah Swaha. Om Shivpriyaye Namah Swaha. Om Mahavidyaye Namah Swaha. Om Parameshwaryaye Namah Swaha. Om Mohiniyaye Namah Swaha. Om Annapurnaye Namah Swaha. Om Sarvagatyaya Namah Swaha. Om Tripurasundariyaye Namah Swaha. Om Chandikaye Namah Swaha. Om Taraswiniyaye Namah Swaha. Om Ranjandikaye Namah Swaha. Om Ramaye Namah Swaha. Om Vedmurtiyaye Namah Swaha. Om Saraswatiyaye Namah Swaha. Om Yugdadiniyaye Namah Swaha. Om Bhadrakalyaye Namah Swaha. Om Mahadev Priyankaryaye Namah Swaha. Om Kalyaniyaye Namah Swaha. Om Mangaladayiniyaye Namah Swaha. Om Shishyaye Namah Swaha. Om Anantyaye Namah Swaha. Om Dhyanaye Namah Swaha. Om Jagadatriyaye Namah Swaha. Om Nandyaye Namah Swaha. Om Muktipradaye Namah Swaha. Om Param Divyaye Namah Swaha. Om Hring Shring Mahamayaye Namah Swaha. Om Bhuvaneshwariyaye Namah Swaha. Siddhi Divyaye Namah Swaha. Om Bhavaniyaye Namah Swaha. Om Radhaye Namah Swaha. Om Janantyaye Namah Swaha. Om Amritaye Namah Swaha. Om Krishnaye Namah Swaha. Om Chandarupiniyaye Namah Swaha. Om Vishwamayaye Namah Swaha. Om Yoginiyaye Namah Swaha. Om Indraniyaye Namah Swaha. Om Kapaliniyaye Namah Swaha. Om Bhairavayaye Namah Swaha. Om Kundaliniyaye Namah Swaha. Om Kankaliyaye Namah Swaha. Om Narsingayaye Namah Swaha. Om Hring Shring Haryakandaswariyaye Namah Swaha. Om Shri Ram Ramaya Namah Swaha. Shri Ram Ramaya Namah Swaha. Om Om Shri Ram Ramaya Namah Swaha. Om Kling Krishnaya Govindaya Gopi Jana Vallabhaya Namah Swaha. Om Kling Krishnaya Govindaya Gopi Jana Vallabhaya Namah Swaha. Om Kling Krishnaya Govindaya Gopi Jana Vallabhaya Namah Swaha. Om Hang Hanamate Namah Swaha. Om Hang Hanamate Namah Swaha. Om Hang Hanamate Namah Swaha. Om Dam Datraya Namah Swaha. Om Dam Datraya Namah Swaha. Om Dam Datraya Namah Swaha. Om Gom Garshnataya Namah Swaha. Om Gom Garshnataya Namah Swaha. Om Gom Garshnataya Namah Swaha. Om Bam Brahmane Namah Swaha. Om Bam Brahmane Namah Swaha. Om Bam Brahmane Namah Swaha. Om Dim Vishnave Namah Swaha. Om Dim Vishnave Namah Swaha. Om Dim Vishnave Namah Swaha. Om Sang Saranaya Namah Swaha. Om Sang Saranaya Namah Swaha. Om Sang Saranaya Namah Swaha. Om Sung Suryaya Namah Swaha. Om Sung Suryaya Namah Swaha. Om Sung Suryaya Namah Swaha. Om Gom Gotami Gangaye Namah Swaha. Om Gom Gotami Gangaye Namah Swaha. Om Gom Gotami Gangaye Namah Swaha. Om Varunai Namah Swaha. Om Varunai Namah Swaha. Om Varunai Namah Swaha. Vayuai Namah Swaha. Om Vayuai Namah Swaha. Om Vayuai Namah Swaha. Om Visyai Namah Swaha. Om Visyai Namah Swaha. Om Visyai Namah Swaha. Indraya Namah Swaha. Om Indraya Namah Swaha. Om Indraya Namah Swaha. Om Tulsiyaya Namah Swaha. Om Tulsiyaya Namah Swaha. Om Tulsiyaya Namah Swaha. Om Nandiyaya Namah Swaha. Om Nandiyaya Namah Swaha. Om Nandiyaya Namah Swaha. Om Navrahada Vibhyo Namah Swaha. Om Navrahada Vibhyo Namah Swaha. Om Navrahada Vibhyo Namah Swaha. Om Ein Ring Kling Chamandaya Vacha Swaha. Om Ein Ring Kling Chamandaya Vacha Swaha. Om Ein Ring Kling Chamandaya Vacha Swaha. Om Im Asana Siddhavaya Namah Swaha. Om Im Asana Siddhavaya Namah Swaha. Om Im Asana Siddhavaya Namah Swaha. Om Bhur Bhuvaswa Tatsavitur Varenyam Vargo Deva Syadhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayat Swaha. Om Bhur Bhuvaswa Tatsavitur Varenyam Vargo Deva Syadhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayat Swaha. Om Bhur Bhuvaswa Tatsavitur Vargo Deva Syadhimahi Dhiyo Yo Naha Prachodayat Swaha. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Swaha. Om Shri Haryakandi Namah Swaha. Om Shri Haryakandi Namah Swaha. Om Shri Haryakandi Namah Swaha. Om Shri Sadhavatibhyo Namah Swaha. Om Shri Kuldavatibhyo Namah Swaha. Om Shri Brahmdavatibhyo Namah Swaha. Om Shri Standavatibhyo Namah Swaha. Om Shri Vasudevatibhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Megdavatibhyo Namah Swaha. These are our last five. So these last five we make with both hands like this. Can you do this? Okay, so with swahas will be like this. Om Shri Mahakaliyaye Namah Swaha. Perfect. Om Shri Mahalakshmiyaye Namah Swaha. Om Shri Mahasaraswati Maha Swaha. Om Shri Sambhasadashivaya Sadguruve Namah Swaha. Everybody can take one for the last offering. Pass it around for everybody. Okay. And we'll stand on our last offering. Two hands. Good, thank you. Well, oh, you got something. Okay, good. Om Hring Sange Saparilare Savahane Saryudai Nanabijatistrathe Shima Kaliye Shima Lakshmiye Shima Saraswatya Dasma Vidya Swarupane Sharakandashwarya Sharakandashwarya Sha Mahahutim Samar Pyami Namas Swaha Bolo Shri Hariya Kandi Ki Chabdambe Mataki Hare Kandashwari Mata Ki Jai, Vishveshwari Mata Ki Jai, Uday Baba Ki Jai. I'll take this to the other end here. Now we'll offer the prasad and the arti lamp. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Actually, we're just going to wave. Om Navidyam Samarpyami Pranaya Swaha Udamaya Swaha Apanaya Swaha Samanaya Swaha Varana Swaha. Yes, here's some bills for you. Perfect. Now we're going to light the arti lamp.
You didn't get a bird one. I want a bird one.
Of course you do.
These ones?
He likes whatever his sister has. Guru Shri Hariya Kandi Bhagwan Ki Jai. Shri Hariya Now we're going to sing Om Namah Shivaya, which is the mantra that our teacher gave us. It means I bow to the divine within me and everybody else. So Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. You're welcome to sing and dance. And you're welcome to pass out some prasad. It does have wheat and sugar and nuts, so you can have it easy like this.
Yeah. Sina no pressure like this.
So one of the traditional dances at Navratri is the grandmother area is Garba. So she's going to teach us all how to dance. And then back. One.
That's it. Oh, is that right?
what's the chant? Kalima?
Yes.
Okay, number 4 in the books if you would like to follow along in the book.
They give it to us. No, why don't they give it to us? Mom! Mom! Mom!
So number 4.
Shakti Kundalini
Thing. What a day of celebration of the Divine Mother. So I'm going to tell a story that happens to be one of my favorites. It also happens to be rather long, but hopefully I can make it a little shorter so our children don't get too restless, or the bigger children. Anyway, so if those that have been listening to this sacred book, it's called the Srimad Devi Bhagavatam. It actually comes in a much bigger version. This is easier to read from. And it's stories about the Divine Mother. So we have a king who's in dire needs of support, asking Vedavyasa, who's the author of this Purana. And he says, Immaculate Vedavyasa, tell me more about the Blessed Divine Mother Purana. I feel wondrous peace steal over my spirit as I listen to you. Vedavyasa said, once in Kosala, in the city of Ayodhya, there ruled the noble king, Dhruvasandi. He was a king of Dharma, a very good king, and Ayodhya flourished under his reign. Now the king had two beautiful wives. In these days they had more than one. One was Manorama, and the other was Lilavati, who were the delight of his days. Manorama gave birth to a very fine prince, and he was named Sudarshana. A month later, Lilavati delivered a radiant child, and they called him Shatrajita. As the two children grew up, it became apparent that the younger one, by 1 month, was more charismatic, more glib, very handsome, and where the older Sudarsana was a little bit more shy and reticent. It even appeared that the king preferred the younger son. Well, when the children were only 5 years old, how old are you, Vidya? Perfect. Okay, so they were just this age. The king went out hunting, and he got killed by a tiger. And so the whole kingdom became very upset. And the guru of the kingdom, whose name was, I think, Vashishta, came right away and said, we must install Sudarshana because he's the older of the princes. We must install him as king right away, otherwise people will become very distraught and scared. Well, meanwhile, the father of Satyajita, who was just 1 month younger, came with his armies from his neighboring kingdom and said, wait a second, my grandson is by far the more qualified, so he should be crowned king. Even though he's 1 month younger, it doesn't make a difference. Well, of course, the grandfather of Sudarshana shows up also from his kingdom with his big army and says, wait a second, rules are rules, and this is what we need to do. We need to install my grandson. Well, the argument grew and grew and grew, and finally it broke out into a huge war that went on for many days, and it was not pretty. And finally, the king, and his name is Udajit. He was the grandfather of Satyajit, the younger one, who's by 1 month younger. He killed the grandfather of Sudarshana. Well, Manorama, who's the daughter of of Visarana, who was killed, she realized that it was not safe in the kingdom for her or her little son, Sudarshana. So she went right away to the counselor who was the wisest and most loyal to the king and said, help, I'm sure he's now going to take my life and my son's life. What are we to do? And he says, we have to go. So they escape, and they go for 2 hard days and nights, and they're about to cross the Ganga River onto another place where the where they feel like they'll be safe. And all of a sudden, they're waylaid by robbers who steals everything. And it seemed as if here Manorama and her son have one terrible situation after another, where they cross the Ganges by raft, and then they walked for a few days and finally came to a place called Chitrakoot, which many people know that name. And there was a sacred ashram there. A Muni lived there. So they went to his ashrams, and um, and when his name was Muni was Bharadvaja. When he saw the beautiful young queen, he said to her in some amazement, "Devi, why are you here in the jungle and your young son with you?" Now, all of the queen's grief burst from her. She began to sob uncontrollably and could not answer the august Muni. Bhadravacha turned to the counselor, Vidala was his name, who said quietly, "My lord, this is Manorama, who was King Durasani of Kosala's first queen." Vidala told the rishi all that had transpired in Ayodhya after the king's death. Because the man spoke the truth, the Muni said, "Stay with us in this ashram. You have nothing to fear here. I promise you that one day your son Sudarshana shall be king of Ayodhya." And so the Muni gave Manorama and Sudarshana a little hut to live in, and they remained there in peace with the queen's servant. Vidala, the counselor, also stayed on in the ashram, for he certainly could not go back to Ayodhya. So meanwhile, Udajit, this is the grandfather of Satyajit, came back to Ayodhya and had his grandson installed as the king. And there was great jubilation because people loved him very much. Yet there are many people who are wise and quiet, and they really worried about what happened to our Sudarshana and to our Manorama. They were not so happy. But still, it happened, and Udajit went back to his kingdom and everybody was happy. And meanwhile, Sudarshana is growing in the ashram, and his playmates are all the Rishi's children. But then Udajit found out that Manorama and Sudarshana were hiding in this ashram in Chitrakoot. So he brought his army there to kill them. And when Manorama heard that, she said, "Muni, what will I do? Udajit means to come here and kill my child, so his grandson is secure on the throne of Ayodhya. Save me, Holy One. My life and my son's life are in your hands." When Udajita arrived in the ashram, the Muni met him and said, "Manorama and her son are in my care. You cannot have them. You can't even see them." Udajit replied, "I will not leave without taking them with me. You are a man of peace, Muni. Give them to me peaceably, or I will take them by force." The Muni's eyes glittered. He said in a soft voice, "You know what happened to Kusika when he tried to take Vasista's cow from that Rishi's ashram with force. There's a whole other story, but let me tell you, it didn't end nicely." So the Muni said, "I beg you, leave us before I grow angry." Now these Munis, they've been meditating for years and years and years and living in the jungle and doing holy practice, so they have such strength in them. So listen to this. The king called his ministers aside and said, "I mustn't leave Manorama and Sudarsana alive. Even the weakest enemy can grow strong in time and become a threat. I have killed Virasena, the grandfather. If I spare Manorama and her son, one day they will surely come for my head and for my Satyajita as my grandson. I must take these two from here and kill them. There are no soldiers at this old hermitage's ashram to prevent me. But his ministers said in alarm, "My lord, never be so rash. The Muni Bhadravaja needs no soldiers to fight us. He can reduce our army to ashes with a look from his eye. If the Muni protects Manorama and her son, we can do them no harm. Moreover, my lord, Manorama has no wealth of any kind. Her son can never be a threat to us. All the world spins round on the wheel of fate. Be merciful today and polite as well. Ask for the Muni's blessings and let us leave here in peace." Now Yudhajita struggled a moment with his Ksatra nature, his kingly warrior nature, then fell at Bhadravacha's feet and asked him for his pardon and blessings, which the kindly rishi gave, and the king went back to his kingdom. Manorama wept in relief, and she also prostrated herself before the Muni in gratitude. Meanwhile, Sudarshana grew in the sanctuary like the moon waxing. His inseparable companions were the rishi sons, and it was a joy to see those children at play together. Once the Muni's son saw Vidala, remember he's the counselor, in the ashram while they were at game with Sudarsana, and called out playfully to the minister, "Plebe, plebe." Sudarshana was a little way away, repeated what he thought he heard, but he left off the last consonant. He said, "Plebe, plebe." He called out in his lisping voice and felt the most delicious stirring in his body. Again and again the child repeated that syllable, never knowing it was the Mula mantra of the Kamadeva, who is the god of love. Each time he felt a soft ecstasy within his body. So without being initiated by any guru other than destiny, the little prince Sudarsana acquired a mystic mantra. He would repeat it in his mind over and over again. He was alone, and whenever he was alone, and just before he fell asleep. And the mantra transformed his very nature. Day by day, he grew more brilliant. When Sudarshana was 11, the rishis began to teach him the Vedas. They were astonished at how quickly he mastered the Dharma Shastras. No one knew about the secret power that he had gained from repeating the Kamadeva's Mula mantra. The once reticent prince became a magnificent archer and scholar. He knew all he needed to know about politics and the moral sciences. He brimmed with quiet assurance. Then, one day, while young Sudarsana sat chanting his mantra, the Divine Mother appeared to him. As she was crimson-hued like a kamsuki flower. She wore scarlet raiment and great blood-red rubies. He saw her as Devi Sri Lakshmi. The Devi called Sudarsana softly to follow her down to the forest to the banks of the Ganga. The prince went without a hesitation, and after he had bathed in the great river, the Devi gave him a splendid bow, 2 magic quivers of arrows, and an unearthly coat of mail. Then she raised her hand over him in benediction and vanished. After this, Sudarsana became a fierce devotee and worshipped the goddess whenever he could, often wandering down to the banks of the river where she had called him. Now it happened that the king of Kasi, another kingdom nearby, had a lovely daughter called Shashikala. One day the princess sat under the tree with her servant when she saw a Brahmin hurrying along into her father's palace. Shashikali stopped the man for fun and cried, "Whither are you coming from in such haste, Muni?" The Muni responded, "Why, from the Muni Raja's ashram, princess," replied the cheerful mendicant. Playfully, Shashikali asked, Tell me of an exceptional thing in that ashram, Muni, the most beautiful thing of all. Without hesitation, the Muni said, why, the Prince Sudarshana, Princess. Ah, he is handsome past describing. That's the son of the king of Ayodhya. I would even say, the Brahmin went on breathlessly, that if you haven't seen our prince, your eyes have been given you in vain. And besides, he's a great scholar and a great archer. Well, let me put it this way, lovely Sashikali. Our Sudarshana is fit to be your husband. And smiling broadly, the Muni breezed on with his errand, leaving Sashikali flushed, a little short of breath, her heart beating faster than ever before in her life. The Rishi's description captured the princess's imagination, and she fell in love with Sudarshana without ever having seen him. One night, perhaps a month after she first heard of the prince in the jungle, Shashikali dreamt of the Divine Mother. The goddess appeared to her brilliantly in a dream and said, child, the prince in the forest is my bhakta, my devotee. Ask me for a boon, and he shall be yours. Sashikala felt she was drowning in a sea of rapture. The next morning she was so radiant, her mother asked her, what's up? But she was very bashful and didn't say anything. She only shared with her with her servant what was really going on. She said, why couldn't I have fallen in love with any of the prince or kings my father knows? How easy everything would be. But the servant, who seemed to be quite wise, said, what is gained easily is seldom worthwhile and hardly lasts a brief season. Her Shakti said, who appeared to know about these things. So the prince Sudarshana, who had lost his kingdom when he was barely 5 years old, who had grown up on wild roots, fruits, and berries in a rishi's ashram in the heart of the forest, with no wealth or any army, no power, found a kingdom to rule over, which he never dreamt of. Never knowing it, he became the king of a beautiful princess's heart. Shashikali had learnt the Saraswati mantra when she was a child, and now she began to chant it every day and to pray to the Devi to make Sudarshana prince of her dreams, her lord of her life. One day, when Sudarshana was meditating on the Kama mantra, Sudarshana had another vision of the Divine Mother. The next morning, it happened that the hunter nearby, who had a kingdom, brought a gift for Sudarshana, who was his friend. He arrived in the forest with a splendid chariot with 4 white horses. As he would ride around, the hermits of the ashram said to Sudarshana, the Divine Mother has blessed you. All the omens cry out that you will soon be king of the world. Sudarshana redoubled his worship, and anywhere he rode in the chariot, it seemed that an army rode with him, of countless foot soldiers and elephants and chariots. It was the magic of the Mula mantra. The prince felt as if he already was monarch of a great kingdom, for the wind whispered that he and the birds called him Rajan, and the animals of the forest honored him. He worshipped the Divine Mother at every moment. It was perhaps happier than any king with a real kingdom. Well, so here's our beautiful Sashikali. She's embarrassed to say anything to anybody but her servant. And meanwhile, her parents are seeing that she's withdrawn from the world because she's so enraptured with this prince of her dreams. And her father sees this and says, there's only one thing, we better get her married. So they have this big event called the Swayamvara, and they invite all the kings and eligible kings and princes of all of India to come. And Shashikala is possibly the most beautiful princess in all of India. So they're all coming. Meanwhile, she tells her father and parents what's going on. But they said, no, 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 you can't marry this princess. Nothing. Besides, his grandfather has already been killed by Udajit, and Udajit will kill him and his mother as well. So this is not a good thing. So we'll go on with Swayamvara. Meanwhile, it's the next day, and Shashikala is very upset. So she sends a secret messenger to the ashram and says, "You must come to my Swayamvara, otherwise I will kill myself." When Sudarshana heard the message, he prepared to set out at once, for an irresistible sense of destiny stirred in him. The Muni gave him his blessing, but when his mother Manorama heard what he meant to do, she wailed, "You mustn't go. Udachita will kill you if he sees you there. My son, you are all I have, the support of my old age. Don't abandon me." But her son said serenely, "Mother, what is written must come to pass, and not you nor I can prevent it. But it is the Devi Bhagavati who commands me to attend this Swayamvara, and I must go." Seeing he was determined, his mother began to shower blessings on him. "Ah, my son, let Ambika bless you. Let all the gods and goddesses bless you." Then she cried, "I will also go with you, my child. You cannot ride alone into danger." So Manorama, who was once a queen, climbed into her son's chariot, and they set out for Kashi. In that city, its king, Sabahu, received them with honor. When he saw how splendid was the prince who had grown up in the ashram in the forest, he housed Sudarsana and his mother in a large mansion and had his own staff wait for him. However, when all the kings and princes arrived there, they heard that there was this penniless king, or excuse me, a young prince who had lived in the forest and was there, and that actually Sashikali preferred him. When Udajit, so this is the grandfather who had already killed Sudarsana's grandfather, when Udajita heard that Sudarsana had arrived in his chariot and the princess preferred him, the king roared, "I will kill that upstart. Sasikali will marry my grandson, Satyajita." But the king of Kerala, who was famed for his knowledge of Dharma, said, "This is an Icha Swamvara. The prince's choice shall be the binding one. There is no place here for arms or show of strength. Why are you so anxious when Satyajita is such a brilliant prince? Moreover, he is king in Ayodhya. Why shouldn't Shashikala choose him, or indeed any other Kshatra here? Calm yourself, Uttajita. Your hands are already tainted with Virasina's blood." But the king growled, "The jackal doesn't dare eye the lion's prey. Why is Sudarsana here at all? The Kshatriya doesn't live by fine words, but by the sword." He stalked away from the other kings. Seeing Udajita was intent on killing Sudarsana, the other kings went to Sabahu, their host. They asked the Lord of Kashi, "Why is Sudarsana here? Do you make a mockery of this Swayamvara? Udajita means to kill him." The king of Kashi said, "My daughter has set her heart on him. How many times I begged her to forget the pauper, but she does not listen. I am helpless, my lord. Sasikali called Sudarsana here. I did not." The king of Kerala said, "Let Sudarsana be fetched here. We will ask him what he intends to do." So Sudarsana came before the glittering crowd. He stood there quietly, not speaking, until one king said, "This is a Swayamvara for royal Kshatras. The most powerful princes on earth have come here to vie for the princess's hand. We all have come with our armies, and some of us are ready to do battle for Shashikala. How have you come here unattended, bringing only your mother with you?" Another said, "You have no kingdom, no army, no wealth. You don't belong in this country, in this company." You are a hermit. Tell us how you dared come to Kashi. Sudarsana had a smile on his face. In a soft voice, he said, My lords, all that you say is true. I have no kingdom, no legions, no friends or wealth. I heard the Swayambara and I came to watch it with no special purpose. But my lords, I did not come of my own will, but because the Divine Mother, the Devi Bhagavati, told me to. The Devi, the Divine Mother, who is my goddess, is all of yours as well. I have no enmity with you, but if you decide to make an enemy of me, she who is the cause of all causes, the Mother of the universe, will protect me. I only do what she asks of me. My life is in the hands of the one who spins the wheel of fate. But the king said, What you say is true, but Yudhishthira means to have your head. Sudarshana laughed. He said, A man is born into this world by his karma, and by fate alone does he leave it when his time has come. Not a moment before his time comes can any man be killed by any king or even by the devas. It is only Kal, time, who creates and destroys the man. I am a Bhakta, the Divine Mother, from whom hands time flows. She protects me, and I fear neither Yudhishthira nor any other man. Are you okay to go on? Okay, so the Swayambara is all set up to happen, and so Sabahu, the great king, he goes and says, he greets them all, and then he goes to get his beautiful daughter. Let me just read that part. That's beautiful. He goes to get his daughter. Sabahu, when he saw her, she looked like a goddess stepped down briefly into the world of mortal men. Her father stood before her, breathtaken to see how exquisitely beautiful his child was. Sabahu said, Child, take up this garland you will set around your husband's neck. All the princes and kings are waiting for you. But the princess said, I will not go to the Swayambara. The sastras say that only a desolate woman parades herself before the eyes of so many men, for all men have lust in their hearts. Even as I walk into the Sabha, they will look at me with lust in their gazes, and my chastity will be forfeit. I am not a loose woman, and would not have so many men cast their eyes over me and think how desirable I am. I do not care for this Swayambara, Father. I have already given my heart to the prince I will marry. This garland is only for Sudarsana. I love him, and please, if you love me, choose an auspicious day in Langa and give me to the prince I love. So Sabahu went out to the crowd because he could see the tears in his child's eyes, and he knew that her heart was true and it was made up. He clasped her in his arms to comfort her, but then he thought, what am I going to do now? Anxiously, the king went back to the group of kings and princes where all the kshatras waited. As bravely as he could, Sabahu said, My lords, though I begged my daughter, and her mother implored her as well, she will not come to the Swayambara. I don't know what to do. I throw myself upon your mercy. I am prepared to give you all gold and jewels that will satisfy you in return for the trouble you have been put to. My lords, my Shashikala is still a child, as you can see what she does. If I punish her or force her to come out here, I fear she'll kill herself. I beg of you, think of her as if she was your own daughter, and forgive us both, please. Perfect silence fell on the Sabha, and it was a sympathetic quiet, for the kings had been moved by what Sundarsana had said to them earlier. But Yudhishthira's eyes burned crimson, and he roared, Sabahu, you fool! Is this the time to tell us this? Are you an idiot as well, that you couldn't anticipate this? And I suppose you mean to give your daughter to that penniless Sudarsana, after making fools of all of us. But I will not stand for it. I will kill you first, witless king, then Sudarsana, and I have my grandson Sadachita marry your Sasikali over her father's dead body, if need be. Listen to me, Sabahu. A man must think of his family first, wealth and equality when he gives his daughter in marriage. Marriage is not a matter of a young woman's whim of the day. We both knew this. You and I have been friends for a long time. Fetch your daughter here and let her choose any Kshatriya for a husband. I am content. Any, except Sudarsana, whose life I will not spare today. It seemed Udajit had swayed the most of the kings, and everybody began to murmur. Sabahu bowed and said, I will ask my wife to speak to Sasikali. So the wife goes, and the wife comes to her daughter and said, if you insist on being stubborn, Udajita means to kill your father and Sudarsana. You are still young, my child. You don't understand the ways of the world. I beg you, give up your stubbornness and marry any prince but Sudarsana. Save your father's life. And the queen wept before her daughter. But Sashikali said, Father, marry me to Sudarsana at once, and then turn us both out of your city. At least you will be saved then, and fate's purpose will be fulfilled, whatever she intends. I can never give up Sudarsana, any more than I can pluck my heart from my body, and then hope to live on. Go now, gentle father. Tell the kings the Swayamvara has been postponed until tomorrow, and tomorrow let them be guests at our wedding, at my wedding to Sudarsana. The father looked at the daughter, and she spoke with such quiet determination that he saw that nothing would change her mind. She was a grown woman suddenly, who would die if need to fulfill what she believed to be her destiny. She was a woman of substance, and the king could say nothing to her. Sasikali took her father's hand and said, My lord, it is the Divine Mother who has decided that I belong to Sudarsana, and no one else. She will protect us from all these kings. Their power is nothing before hers. Her voice was low, and she added, and if Bhagavati, the Divine Mother, so decides, I will die at Sudarsana's side rather than betray my love. Suddenly the king also felt inexplicably calm, as if something unseen had plucked his anxiety from him. He embraced his daughter, and then he went back to the Swayamvara, where he said, There will be no Swayamvara today. I have decided my daughter shall be married tomorrow instead. My friends, bear with me until then. Return to your camps now, and we shall meet again tomorrow. Perhaps I will devise a trial of strength or skill for the princess in the night, and let one who succeeds win my daughter's hands. Until tomorrow then, my lords. And Sabahu swept out of the swabha, and he sounded so confident that Udajit and the others felt sure that he had persuaded his daughter to change her mind. They left the city for their camps. Meanwhile, in a sequestered apartment in the very heart of the king's palace, frenzied preparations were underway for a secret wedding. Sudarsana and his mother had been fetched, and the prince from the forest was being clothed in the finest silks. And a delighted princess in another apartment was also being adored to be a ravishing young bride. So the marriage took place at an auspicious time, and after the marriage, Sabahu, the king, he came to Manorama, that's Sudarsana's mother, and said, and bowed deeply to her, and said, O queen, I am your servant now. Tell me, what can I do for you? The tears escaped her soft eyes. Manorama said, I have no words with which to thank you. But I see that there is no king in all of India as noble as you are, Sabahu of the great heart. Smiling Sabahu said, rule my kingdom from now on, Manorama, and I will be your servant. Or stay in Kashi with your son and let him have half my kingdom. Then a shadow crossed his face, and he said grimly, but I must try and appease the others now. If they will not be pacified, we must fight them. But I have no fear. Victory will belong to the side that has Dharma, truth, and the Devi's blessing. Manorama said softly, let fear have no hold over your heart, noble king. I have seen a miracle today, and faith fills my heart. I am certain now that with the Devi's grace, my son will soon have the kingdom of Ayodhya back. Ayodhya that is rightfully his. So they spoke till sunrise, and then Sabahu had to face all the kings. And the king said, he said to them, he said, they all heard the news that Shashikala and Sudarsana had been married. Sabahu deceived us. We will kill them and Sudarsana too, and take Kashi for ourselves and Shashikala. Even as they spoke, Sabahu arrived in the mist with his guards and ministers. Silence fell over the king. They stood glowering at their host. Sabahu folded his hands and bowed to them. My lords, be kind enough to join us for a banquet to celebrate my daughter's wedding. The thing is done now, and I beg you to forgive me if I've caused any offense. But the angry king said, we have already eaten. We're not going to join you for a breakfast to celebrate your daughter. There are other matters we must attend to. They spoke with much menace that the fear gripped Sabahu, and he went back to his city. Meanwhile, the kings decided to blockade, and attack the Sudarsana and Sasikali. So the soldiers brought word back that, and Sudarsana came to his father-in-law and said, you must let us leave now. We shall go to Muni Bhadravaja's ashram first, and then decide where to go from there. Fear nothing, my lord. The Devi Bhagavati, who is the mother of the universe, protects us. What can these kings do, at least do against her power? Sabahu said, I will come with you at least for a way. So they came to the city gates, Sudarsana riding his white chariot with Shashikali next to him, and they saw the enemy host confronting them. Sudarsana began to intone his mantra, his prayer, and thought fervently of the Divine Mother. All around the chariot there rose sound of conches, the blare of trumpets, and the roll of 1,000 drummers beating up a storm. Sudarsana stood absorbed, his eyes shut. Sabahu saw that Udajit led the blockading army with his grandson Satyajit beside him. Roaring, the enemy flew at Sudarsana in his chariot, his half-brother before all the others. Arrows darkened the sky, and Sabahu plunged his Ratha forward, his soldiers all around him, to meet the enemy's charge. Suddenly, a hush fell on the field, and both armies froze in their ranks. Udajit and Satyajita froze as their horses reared in alarm, winning at the strange apparition which had materialized between the two forces. An immense lion, and upon that golden beast's back rode a shimmering goddess, her luster like another sun risen on the earth. She rode her lion between the two armies, daring anyone to approach her. Sudarsana opened his eyes and murmured. He said, look, Sashikali, the Devi has come to protect us. Sabahu stood in trance. Udajit roared, who is this woman who rides on a lion? What does she want here? At that moment, the lion gave a roar that drowned every other sound on the field. Horses and elephants bolted, and in a moment there was a channel cleared through Udajita's legion, a way along which Sudarsana now fearlessly drove his chariot. Udaji roared, "Shall we let a mere woman on a lion frighten us? Kill them, and kill that upstart Sudarsana." And he plunged at Sudarsana, his bow flaring arrows, and Sutajita beside him. Sudarsana held them both off for a while. Then, suddenly, the Divine Mother was at his side on her beast. Udajita shot his arrows at her as well, and Satyajita did too. The Crimson Devi smiled. She raised her own bow in one of 8 hands. With another hand, she loosed a volley at the enemy. In a blur, both Udajit and Satyajit were dead, their heads struck off by the goddess' crescent-tipped shafts. Sabahu leapt down from his chariot and prostrated himself before the Divine Mother. Again and again he lifted his head and set it down at the dust of her feet. "Mother, Divine Mother, I have no words with which to praise you. Bhavani, unworthy as I am, today I have seen you with my own eyes. I see how you protect your devotees, your bhaktas. Oh, Devi, you have come yourself to save Sudarsana's life. Om Transcendent One, I lay my head at your feet. Mother, please bless me." The Devi smiled tenderly and said to Sabahu, "King of Dharma, name your boon." The king said, "What more could a man want than seeing this with his own mortal eyes? Not the kingdom of the Devas is more precious than what I have seen today. I beg you, Devi, for the boon of bhakti, devotion. Let my faith in you never waver, and let your grace be upon me and upon my city forever. Bless me, Sri Durga, that I may be your bhakta forever." The Devi said, "I will remain here in Kashi always, good Sabahu, for as long as Kashi stands upon the face of the earth." Sudarsana arrived and fell at the goddess's feet, tears of ecstasy flowing down his face. He worshipped her, "Mother of the sky, Mother of mercy, you have saved me today, though I have such scant faith. Let me be your servant from this day, Devi. Command me. What shall I do with my life now? Where shall I go?" Smiling, the Divine Mother said, "Have you forgotten Ayodhya, your father's city, Sudarsana? Go to Ayodhya now and rule as the king, for this is who you are. Worship me always, Sudarsana, and I will care for you and yours. Keep a statue of me in your kingdom. Pray to it all the time, and I will be with you. Also, celebrate the Navratri, the Divine Mother Festival that we are celebrating now, particularly the ones in autumn and spring, for it is mine. Fear nothing, Sudarsana. You are my bhakti, and I love you." With that, her hands raised in benediction over her kneeling devotee, and the Devi and her pristine mount vanished. And then all of a sudden, all the kings ran like the Devas to Indra, the stunned kings who were still alive. They ran to the feet of Sudarsana. Even Sabahu bowed deeply to his son-in-law, for there was no doubt that he was the Devi's chosen one, and he was Lord of Ayodhya now, king of the ancient city. Those kings cried, "We are your servants from this day on, Sudarsana. By your grace we have all seen the Devi with our own eyes. But tell us, O king, how did the mother of the stars come to save your life?" Sudarsana said, "When I was a child in Muni Bhaja's ashram, I was given the Kam Bija, the mantra, and every day I would chant it silently as often as I could. In time, my devotion grew, and the Devi would appear to me in dreams and visions and tell me what to do. I came to Kashi at her behest, and she has protected me. Why, she has returned my kingdom to me." So word flew, and when Sasikala and Siddharasasam came back to Ayodhya, everybody is out to greet them. So if you remember, there was a second wife, right? Satyajita's mother, Lilajit. Lilajit. Was that her name? Yes. Well, she was a little nervous when Sudarsana and Manorama had come because her father had killed um, Sudarsana's grandfather. But when they came, the first thing that Sudarsana did was go to the kingdom and take and talk to her and said, uh, "Mother," he bowed to her, touched her feet, and said, "Mother, I did not kill either your son or your father. The Devi Bhagavati took their lives. As for me, I say to you that you shall have the same honor in Ayodhya as does my mother Manorama. You were both my father's queens, and I make no difference between you. Mother, the wise say that sorrow and joy come in life according to one's karma, and one should not be too moved by either. As a puppeteer makes his puppets dance, so too the soul leads us through the maze of time, through grief and delight, which is only the fruits of our karma. I had to flee in the jungle as a mere boy and innocent. I lived in the ashram and learned precious lessons in the wilderness that I would not forsake for a kingdom. All this was surely the karma of past lives, and I learned that the munis of the forest who live on roots and fruits are often happier than the kings who live in palaces. And Lulubata heard this, and she was um, grateful. And then they lived there forever. And now Dharma has been done by the Devi herself. So it came to pass that the grace of the Devi was upon the entire kingdom, and the rule of Sudarsana was as blessed as the Rama Raja. His people knew how the goddess transformed their prince's life, how he came herself to save her bhakti, and there was no home in Ayodhya and all of Kosala that did not have a statue of her, and that people did not do her worship. So Jai Mahamaya ki jai, Bole Baba ki jai. That was a long story, but I love it so much because it speaks to the Divine Mother taking care of all of us moment to moment. So thank you. And there's food down for everybody. We'll have darshan of the Divine Mother, and we'll reconvene at 8:30 tomorrow morning for the Devi Puja.
8:30 tomorrow morning, not 6:15?
Oh, not for live streaming. Okay, okay. But we'll be there at 6:15.